Now we're going to get down to the nitty-gritty of what Indians are all about.
I still say we Indian people are believers in the truth. This is the way of life that was given to your people. You're born an Indian, you're going to die an Indian. Indianness is a good life. You're facing an Indian this afternoon.
Good Saturday afternoon out there, everyone. Welcome to your number one source for Native American television news, Muskogee Vision. I am your host, Jason Salzman, and you are watching us from the Muskogee Media Studios right here on our home, Tulsa CW 1219. I want to thank all the people out there that join us on our online channel too. We realize a lot of people out of our viewing area does not stop you from catching us each and every week, and we're updating episodes each and every week as well as content. Singular stories, things like that on that YouTube channel. So you keep going on there, keep interacting with us, as well as on MuskogeeMedia.com. Lots of big and exciting things going on in and around Muskogee Creek Nation right now, especially as we are on the cusp, the doormat, if you will, of the Muskogee Creek Nation Festival, biggest event of the year. So lots to get ready for there, but lots of big news to talk to you about today. We got a very exclusive interview with Mr. James Floyd, Principal Chief at the Creek Nation. All of that and more coming up your way after this first commercial break.
Make a memory by coming back home. Make a memory by immersing yourself in Muskogee culture. Make a memory that will last a lifetime. Make a memory at this year's 44th Annual Muskogee Creek Nation Festival in Okmulgee.
Make your memories with 4 days of free family fun at the Muskogee Creek Nation's annual festival, June 21st through the 24th in Okmulgee. For more festival information, visit creekfestival.com. And welcome back to Muskogee Vision. I'm your host, Jason Salzman, as we get rolling with today's first top feature, and it is an exclusive sit-down with Principal Chief James Floyd. You know, I'm from the Eufaula area. A lot of Muskogee Creek people down from the Eufaula area as well. A lot of people back in the day remember the heyday of Fountainhead Resort out there at Fountainhead Park in and around near Eufaula Lake out there. So a lot of people know the history of that spot, its potential, but also that the resort is now gone, was torn down, and that it was acquired, that area, by the Muskogee Creek Nation. Well, for many years now, the Muskogee Creek Nation wanting to put that property into trust, and they have done that now. Talking with Principal Chief James Floyd about that news this week, and he sat down with us to talk a little bit about the process, how long it's taken them, and looking forward to the future, and sort of speculating on what might be done in that area.
Chief Floyd, our people have been curious about the status and future of the Fountainhead facility. Wonderful opportunity there, I think. So can you fill us in? What's the status and where's it going?
Okay. Sure, be glad to. On Monday, April 30th of this year, the acting Deputy Assistant Secretary for the Department of the Interior came out to Tulsa with the papers for the Fountainhead property, the 48 acres that the tribe had purchased in 2005, to finalize the application to place the land in trust. He and I both signed the document that day. It has now been filed in the courthouse in McIntosh County as being restricted trust property for commercial development and for gaming. And it becomes the second tract on that peninsula on Lake Eufaula that's in trust. We previously had 14 acres, and in the end of 2016 in December, that 14 acres was a part of a piece of legislation that was passed in the House and Senate, signed into law. So we got the 14 acres. Now we got the 48 acres. So the 62 acres on that one area previously referred to as the Fountainhead Lodge property is in trust for the Muskogee Creek Nation. As many people do know, we operate by lease the golf course at Fountainhead, and we have been in talks with the state of Oklahoma to transfer the operation of the park, known presently as the Fountainhead State Park, over to the Muskogee Creek Nation. We've been previously just kind of letting that one rest because we wanted to make sure this property got into trust first. So now that it's in trust, our planning department and gaming, tourism will be involved in looking at the entire parcel and designing some type of strategy that will be hopefully a destination site and include gaming. Beyond that, we're not quite sure. We know that people would like to see a resort hotel on that site. I think most common sentiment is that you rebuild the Fountainhead Lodge that was there previously. I think we will probably do something like that in the future. I'm not sure exactly when. They are working on it right now, and so as soon as that plan becomes complete, then we'll announce that and proceed with the plans. Now, in gaming, it will have to compete with other priorities as well, so I'm not sure where that would rank in the projects that they have lined out already, but I think it'd be a competitive property because of the fact of where it's located and the traffic that comes through that area. So we're hopeful that we can get to work on that pretty soon. The most important thing is just what happened this week by putting it into trust and having it protected for us, and that culminates about a 2-year process, I think, something like that, working with the Department of Interior. So we're just pleased that we have land in trust at this time.
You mentioned the word resort there, and that's naturally the first thing I think that comes to most people's mind. And perhaps something modeled on the Margaritaville facility now. That seems to be successful and a very wise way to go. Do you envision something like that at some point, perhaps?
I'm not sure what type of business that we will have there. It all really depends upon the amount of money that needs to be invested, the expected return on the investment, and something that will be successful. So it could be partnering with somebody else. I'm going to leave that to the planning and gaming and those folks who deal in enterprises and see where we end up in terms of plans. I hate to speculate right now and say something that won't come to fruition.
Mm-hmm. Have you talked in terms of potential costs for development here? How much is the tribe willing to invest, perhaps?
Yeah. I think the cost that the tribe is willing to invest is an open question, because they could. There's been discussions of should we phase things in. Mm-hmm. Phase 1 being maybe lodging or restaurant or gaming. They will determine what they think will be the best first investment, or whether they do all three at one time. I'm not quite sure. We know that there is some demand in that area. McIntosh County is one of the highest unemployment counties in the state of Oklahoma. It's kind of a depleted economy, and I know a lot of people are relying on us to help raise that economy down there. But at the same time, we have to have people coming in with money to support any expenditures that we place in that property, any investment.
Are you looking to perhaps outside investors? Like the corporation behind Margaritaville was a factor in, I think, the success here. It brought that name, that brand into it, and I think plays into the success. Are you going to be able to consider those kinds of things?
I think in terms of consideration, nothing's off the table. Certainly with any brand that comes in, there's also attachments to that because you're buying into a brand. So what is it going to cost you to buy into the brand versus us developing it on our own with the Muskogee Creek Nation brand? So they're going to have to look at the numbers very closely and decide, what is going to be best for that location. And if we can build it to where it is a destination, then I think the attraction will certainly be there for a lot of people to go there. And so we'll be looking at, again, all the parcels that are there, even the state property, which is about 5,000 acres that we don't have right now. Governor Fallon has suggested that, should be open to having the tribe take the management of that park over. So that gives us more options. They'll just put all the options on the table, look at the possibilities, and soon be coming up to me and National Council with a plan of what they expect to go in down there.
What does local government think about an idea like that? Sometimes counties or states are reluctant, perhaps, because they see this land being taken out of their tax base and they don't get anything out of it, so to speak. Has that been addressed, or are the local folks supportive of a plan like that? I know it's early, but have you been able to gauge that?
We've had letters of support from Shakota, Eufaula, both the city governments, Chamber of Commerce, fishing groups have also weighed in and said that they're supportive of us having businesses there. The county, the taxes that we pay, I think are only about $19,000 a year. That's not a significant amount of money compared to other places that we have fee property. But so we'll have to replace that with some way with an economy. But I think in general, the county leaders, city leaders are all very excited that we would put that in a trust. Again, the sentiment goes to what was there in the first place 50 years ago when the lake went in, the lodge was built. People are all the time hoping that we would build something back like what was there before.
Its location is not exactly on the beaten track of a Tulsa or Oklahoma City, something like that. So it would seem like there might have to be an extensive marketing campaign to go along with it to make people in Oklahoma and surrounding areas, and indeed the world, aware of this wonderful opportunity there. So have you got plans for that, an idea perhaps?
Well, there is a campaign that would have to be put into place. Recently, the Honey Springs Battlefield site that has opened is attracting about 100,000 people a year. And so when you look at that, and it's 12 miles away, it's not too hard to begin to bridge those together. I don't know the exact numbers of people who visit Lake Eufaula every year, but we would certainly open ourselves up to the visitors to the lake. There's a new residential development southeast of Eufaula, and the caliber of business that we would put in and what we would offer as a product compared to what's there now is much different. So I think the interest would certainly be there, and we just need to create the right product that would attract people there.
What have you heard from the National Council? Have they expressed any sentiments about the way they'd like to see the thing developed, or perhaps the cost that they're perhaps willing to put up?
To my knowledge, the council has not really put any limits to what we would spend there or a target of what they expect. I think they're waiting for the action that took place this week, certainly by placing it in trust. And then, as I mentioned before, all the activity that's going to take place, the planning and design, development, things like that, the concept of what it's going to be. And I think that's when we'll see them weigh in and then look at the comparisons of cost versus return and what level of investment can be sustained down there.
Now, the federal government has had some opposition, let's call it, to many native issues, including development and things like that, reservations, land, and trust. Did you encounter any opposition to that through the Interior Secretary or higher up even?
Well, I think, first of all, this, to our knowledge, is the second piece of property placed in the trust by the federal government under the Trump administration for the purposes of gaming. And it's the most significant piece. 48 acres is a fairly large amount. We have seen 6 tribes in Virginia be recognized recently, so there's some activity going on. I think where things work both for and against us is, we went in a pretty short window of time, but at the same time we had to redo some steps in the process because some of our studies were good for 6 months. So we had to complete a traffic study, environmental study twice. But as I would go and speak with them, I didn't want to do it a third time. So I let them know that this is a time-sensitive issue. So I'm glad to see they responded. I'm glad to see that they came out here to sign the document where our staff could be present because they did all the hard work that led up to this. So a lot of thanks to a lot of different people.
Final question, Chief. How do you think the citizenship will take the news and the idea and the project?
Well, I hope they take it in a positive way. It's not definitive in what product we're going to have there, what enterprise or whatever, but I think that it's assurance of the fact that we now have complete control over that area. And we're looking at it, we're studying it, and the fact that we can provide jobs there in such a high unemployment area, I think they would very much like that. And if we can bring other businesses associated, travel plazas or motels that may be in the community, then we've brought other businesses along with us. And that, along with our investment in the clinic in Eufaula, which is attracting other medical people to want to locate near our clinic, kind of shows the desire that people have in that area. And so maybe our investment will bring other investments to accompany that.
Okay. Chief Floyd, thank you very much. We appreciate you taking time
You're welcome. Thanks.
to share this news. I'm sure
it's good news, and we're very pleased.
Thank you, sir.
And we want to thank Principal Chief James Floyd for that interview, and want to remind you to stay with Muskogee Media in your newspaper on the website, muskogeemedia.com, for any and all further developments on the status of that property. Well, moving right along to our last piece of video for this week, and it comes to us from the vault. So we're going to go in the vault again, look in our archive material, and this one is entitled The Vital Link. I don't know exactly what year, but you may see some people you know in this video. As we love showing the archive videos. A lot of people see those, stop us. And, hey, I saw somebody I know. I remember being a part of that. It's really neat, and so we love being able to show them. This is The Vital Link, talking about our CHR representatives at the different areas of the health administration.
Hello, I'm Bunny Hill, Health Education Specialist for the Creek Nation. Creek Nation's health care system is made up of a network of agencies and individuals whose goal is to provide responsive, cost-effective health services to Indian people living within the tribe's boundaries. One of the longest-running and most active components of the health delivery system is the CHR program, the Community Health Representatives. The CHRs play an important role in healthcare delivery by providing a vital link between health services and those who need these services, a link between patients and doctors, a link between people and good health. As extensions of Creek Nation's health care system, CHRs are called upon to provide a wide variety of services, including transportation, communication, health education, and disease prevention. They act as the ears and eyes of doctors and nurses out in the Indian community, reporting symptoms and making referrals.
Base 2 to CHR 13.
Base 13, come in.
What's your 20?
Stephen Preston, coming back in.
Okay, can you stop by the complex, please?
10-4.
Thank you. Base 2 clear. We have 7 CHRs that work out in the field, and they all drive government cars. Each car is equipped with a radio, and and the way I keep in touch with them is calling to them through the base radio here. People call here into the office asking for transportation at different times, and then I'll call the CHR that's out in the field and to see if they're free to take this person to a clinic or to the hospital, or if they have an emergency, I call on the CHRs to take them to the hospital. The duties of the CHR mostly is to make home visits on referral basis. When the patient gets released from the hospital, the CHR goes and make this home visit with the patient, and the doctor will send out a referral what the CHR is to check for, to take their blood pressures, their temp, and to report back to the doctor that how the patient is getting along.
Providing transportation to clinics and hospitals for eligible patients is an important CHR function. Representatives spend a great deal of time on the road, averaging about 2,000 miles per worker per month. But a CHR is much more than a glorified cab driver.
Some people think I'm just a taxi driver, but I'm not. In the beginning, my understanding was that when I took this job, I was there to be a liaison between my people and different agencies. I'll go out and make home visit and make an assessment and see what the needs of my patients are. And this one particular case will be my dialysis patient. In his case, well, he doesn't have transportation to get back and forth to his dialysis treatment. And this has to be done every other day. And today I brought him in and asked him how he was feeling. Today he didn't feel very good. And so I drop him off at his treatment, and then I go on and do my other duties. If the other Indian people are needing my service, I go ahead and make my home visits there. Leaving Okmulgee Hospital, coming your way.
The CHR program provides a very diverse collection of services, and it's my job to coordinate, manage, and monitor these services. With our program, we are able to fill in some of the gaps in the healthcare system and make available things that some Indian people may not be able to afford or be able to get on their own. For example, there's the Child Car Seat Program, which began in 1983. This program provides safety-approved car seats for infants and small children and families. There are also hearing tests available, conducted by our audiometric technician in the clinics and community centers on a regular basis.
They just got through with a CPR class. They have to, just in case they came up on an accident or something out in the field, they have to know CPR. And that goes the same way with if they make a home visit and they find someone ill and that needs to go into the hospital, they have to know how to, if this person has had a stroke or had a heart attack, they know how to they'll know how to call the doctor and what to do for this heart attack person or stroke patient.
CHRs receive intensive training as first responders in order to provide initial emergency health services to patients in life-threatening situations.
Caroline? 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 Caroline, are you home? Caroline? Can you hear me? Caroline, are you okay? What's wrong? Huh? Caroline, can you hear me? Huh? Answer me. Can you hear me?
The CHR initiates appropriate life-saving procedures and checks the status of the patient before calling the closest available emergency medical team.
Caroline, how long have you been feeling this way? Caroline, this is Christine. Can you hear me? Okay, I'm going to take your blood pressure now. Caroline, can you hear me?
The CHR's actions during this period can mean the difference between life and death for some of these patients.
Caroline, can you still hear me? Caroline, can you hear me? Okay, I'm going to take your pulse. Caroline, you still with me? Caroline, I'm going to get a pillow, put it under your legs. I'm going to go out here and call an ambulance. Caroline, I'm going to put this pillow under your legs. I'm going to go out here and call an ambulance. You be real good and be still. I'm going to get an ambulance.
Well, that's going to wrap us up for this week's episode. I want to thank everybody out there for watching. Again, want to thank Principal Chief James Floyd for visiting with us about the Fountainhead property and its status now in trust there. Also want to thank Jared for pulling out of the vault this week with the archive material. I know a lot of people like to see that, and it's the only place you can see it. It's right here on Muskogee Vision. I want to encourage everybody out there. I know festival's coming up. We've got some new things going on at Muskogee Media with our merchandise, our store online on MuskogeeMedia.com. Please go get ready for festival with some Muskogee Media t-shirts, some merchandise. We'll have a lot of things out too at our booth this year, as we always do. Love interacting and visiting with our different citizens that come by and tell us that you read the newspaper, you watch the television program, you listen to the radio show, and you visit the website frequently. That's what we want to hear. We want to be able to keep providing you with great content each and every week on all of those outlets. Go to our online channel, hit the red button, subscribe. You'll get all of our things as we upload them right there in the palm of your hand. I want to thank Jared Moore for all his hard work this week, as well as everybody here at Muskogee Media. I'm Jason Salzman. This is Muskogee Vision. We'll see you next time.